Hello again, adventurers. This is John from Aimless Adventures podcast. I'm here with Mike Kennedy, the man when it comes to the Retro VGS system that is just lurking over us, waiting for anticipation.
Good way to put it.
Thank you. Can you tell us, the people that don't necessarily know about it, what exactly is the Retro VGS?
The Retro VGS is going to be a brand new video game system to play new games on cartridges again. So of course you've got the Retrons and a lot of these systems that have come out over the past years that play old cartridges.
That always feel like knockoffs or unlicensed stuff.
Exactly. So we're basically making a brand new console, play new games on cartridges. We're making it in the USA. The reason we're doing this is because there's so many great retro games now being made by all these developers who grew up playing the classics, who are now making games that they loved to play growing up, kind of paying homage to those. And lo and behold, these games are still fun to play.
Right.
And now you've got Sony taking notice, and Microsoft taking notice, and Nintendo taking notice. And so this whole retro genre has just sort of exploded. It's been building for a few years, but it's really continuing to explode. And I think mainly it's because it's an art form now, right? I mean, I think people love the look and the style. People like video games that look like video games.
Exactly.
I think that's the essence of it. And you know, kids these days have grown up with great graphics. They don't care about graphics anymore. What looks cool to kids, surprisingly enough, and I've talked to a bunch here even here at the show, are all these types of pixelated, sprite-based games that people just love.
Minecraft is huge.
Huge. I mean, there's proof right there. So again, the genre's here, the games are here. We got plenty of developers making these games. Now we want to preserve some of these games. The bad thing about the retro games that are coming out on the modern day systems is they're all pretty much, other than a very few of them, are not going to be physical releases. They're going to be digitally downloaded or streaming or whatever. So again, some games deserve that preservation. And there's just no better way to do it than on a cartridge.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is the collectability of a physical cartridge, an instruction book, all the art that goes into not just the programming of a game.
Yeah.
And that is what makes them collectible, I think.
And we want to do all of that. I mean, this is the whole package. We're going to do plastic clamshell cases, illustrated, colorful instruction books. We're, of course, making and manufacturing all of those for the developers. So we'll kind of act as a publisher in that respect. We're going to do the sales and the marketing. And, of course, they can also sell and market their own games as well. But, yeah, I mean, and developers are really excited about it. They never thought that they'd ever have a chance to put their game on a cartridge again.
I was going to ask, licensing, is that something that they're just going to contact you and say, this is what we want to do, and you approve it or not? Or are you going to give them the software to be able to build the game for your system? How are you going to handle that?
Yeah, so we're going to have lots of development paths for this system. We want to cater to developers from the mid to high level, you know, quality, kind of professional homebrew guys or people, right up through your indie developers, and hopefully maybe even the big mainstream publishers and developers. We don't want to oversaturate it with just tons and tons of mediocre games, though. So
the Atari syndrome.
That's right. So we've all learned from that. And mobile today, right? It's just, nobody can make a mobile game anymore. You can't, unless you got tons of money and deep pockets to promote it. But no, we're going to kind of go out and, again, we're getting lots of submissions, just even right now, developers sending us games. And, you know, what we want to do is really pick and choose and bring the best of the best out, you know, maybe somewhere between 30 and 40 new games a year, or more depending on the market. If the market can support more games than that, I think we can bring more games than that. But we don't want to have this huge amount of games for a small user base. We want to keep that ratio in check so the developers are making money. But yeah, so every system's going to be a development system right out of the box, so anybody that wants to make a game for it literally can just hook up to their computer, develop their game, share it with us. We can decide if we want to bring this game and officially license it. But the other thing we want to do is give anybody an opportunity to bring a game onto a cartridge, manufacture the box and instruction book for them. So if you make a game, and maybe it's not the greatest game in the world, but it's your first game, you love it, you want to have it forever, you want to sell it to friends or sell it on eBay or sell it in an expo, you call us, and for a fair price, we'll help you get that game onto the cartridge, do your instruction books and sell you 50 of them or 20 of them. And we'll probably stick these in a different type of cartridge case. So it would be one that we'd probably have a class of cartridges. Maybe they're, I don't know what we call them yet, but so people know it's not an officially licensed game. But yeah, we want as many people to make games for this. Of course, anybody that buys their games got to have our system. So it marries people to the system, helps us with our user base, and it gives a lot of people. We're going to have a Game Maker cartridge. We're working potentially with an outfit up in the Bay Area that will have a retro Game Maker cartridge with your own sprite editors and your sound and your backgrounds, and you can create your own shooters or your own platforming games, your own puzzle games. And anybody can do that. Buy the cartridge, do it. You can save your games to a thumb drive in the back of the unit. And hey, if you make a great game out of it, and the other cool thing is when people submit these games to us this way, you make a game, you want to buy 50 of them, and we look at it and go, wow, that's the coolest game we've ever seen. We think we can sell 10,000 of them for you. Then we'll give them, work some sort of a publishing royalty deal with them and kind of bring it under our umbrella and promote it and sell it on our website. So yeah, we want a lot of people making games for this, and it's kind of an educational system because you're going to be able to, if you're using Unity or Game Maker or Fusion, any of these new game making suites, we want to be compatible with all of those, but we also want to be compatible with the guys that are using assembly and C and C+. Our system will be OpenGL compatible too. So I mean, we'll have our own toolkit and ways to bring games and make your games. So there's going to be lots of different ways for people to make games for this thing.
Okay, I'm gonna don the mustache and bust out with my best Geraldo Rivera impression I can. Can you give us a hint on what price point you're looking at, console, and then I know the game's going to depend on the developer and everything, but is there a price range that you're planning to hit? I know everything's up for grabs.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is sort of the $1 million question, and it's a modern day system to play modern day games, even though it's called the Retro VGS. So it's sort of a confusing thing, I think, for people, but we want to be pretty clear about it. It's going to play some of the same games. Ultimately, we believe that you're going to be playing on the modern day, the Xbox, the PlayStation, or the Wii. But I think we're going to be somewhere in the $300 to $400 range for kind of a base system with a pack-in game, a controller, all the connections. It's not region locked. It's international. We're going to have an international AC DAT. You'll be able to plug this thing in anywhere in the world, and I think we'll be able to justify the price with the types of games we've got coming on. And again, if you want to play it over there, you can own it over here and have it forever. I mean, that's really what we're selling. So we hope there's people that see the value in that. And we're trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink into it, really.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't seem like an outrageous price. It's kind of what we were expecting. So yeah, I think somewhere around there would be acceptable if it is something that can hold value, which it sounds like it's going to, and that's it. Hopefully it's something that's the next gen, current gen consoles and stuff seem to be a bit more disposable than older consoles, and I'm hoping that yours is going to be something that will sit on our shelf for years.
That's why we're doing it, without a doubt. I mean, look at this is all a great crowd, right? They all want that tangibility. They're buying the games they grew up with. I want to give kids of today that same chance, because right now, I mean, what are they going to hang on their walls and brag about in 20, 30 years when they get out of college and they have that disposable income? And it sounds like it's a long way away for these kids, but it's going to be here before they know it. And so, and they're not thinking about that now. And it's just sort of cliche. But I mean, that's how we all grew up. And we've talked to young kids. We've had some 8, 9, 10-year-olds come by, and they're holding the controller and they're holding the cartridge, and they've seen their parents' systems, and they get it. It's unbelievable. And like I said, graphics aren't great. Don't turn them on anymore. Like you had mentioned Minecraft. I mean, it's all about gameplay and games that look like video games. Right. Games today don't look like video games, and they haven't for a long time. So I'm kind of saying this is like the return of the video game system. That's really what it is. That's all it's designed to do. The games are going to be, unmistakably, they're going to be video games. Pixels, sprites, maybe polygons, who knows,
Digital music.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's going to be an exciting time, and we hope gamers get behind it so we can show. I mean, we're not just selling a game system. We're sort of trying to fundamentally in some way, change the direction of the industry with this thing. And there may never be another opportunity to do this. This may be it for cartridges. So it's sort of a long shot, but we've seen a lot of interest in it, and we're striking a chord. And I appreciate you helping us spread the word.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're definitely supporting you. We're pushing the idea of this because we are so fundamentally based in the cartridge-based games, and I mean, just that's our childhood. And I mean, I would love for our kids and our kids' kids and stuff to be able to experience that, to be able to hold a cart, blow it out when it gets dusty and everything. You know, it's just something I want future generations to be able to do too.
The great thing, again, this is going to be a one-time purchase. We're building this with, we're making it in the USA with high-quality parts. Unlike the game systems of today and of the past, where every 7, 8, 9 years they got to make a new, bigger, better, faster, we don't have to.
Right.
So as long as there's developers that still love making these games, and as long as we give them enough ways to make games and get creative, which we're doing, you're going to see games on this, if this happens, that are going to blow your mind. You really are. Awesome. Which you think you've seen everything, but with this FPGA ARM combination and what people are going to be able to do with it, it's going to be pretty fascinating. And again, you buy it, you play it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and maybe people will still be making games for it. People are still making games for the Atari 2600.
Right.
They're still making games for the Genesis and the NES. So this is actually a system that'll last that whole time, and
definitely
be a platform for people to make games on for years and years and years and years and years. That's the dream. That's what we're trying to sell here. Not just a flash in the pan here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, we're trying to build something. I mean, I want to work here for another 20, 30 years of my life. Get out of my real job. I'm getting to the point where I need something to get me into this all full time, and not just me, but my whole team. And we think we may have it here with this, hopefully.
I definitely want to be able to interview you again when this is, huge and everybody's got one in their house, and yep.
I want to see people kickstarting new awesome games for this, and just for this only. And we may have a first-party development team, making our own games. We've got a lot of contacts with a lot of 16-bit developers who made lots of great games back in the day. That want to come back and start making games again. None of them like making games for mobile, or they just don't like it.
Right.
And there's still a lot of talented developers who, again, they're a little older now. They made some of the greatest games of all time back in the mid to late 80s and early 90s. And I'm talking about bringing them back and making games for this thing. Our own IP, our own properties, our own merchandise. Really just taking it all to the next level. So it's all going to be possible if the gamers get behind it.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting times. I can't wait to see what happens. Thank you so much for letting us stop in and bother you.
Awesome.
Thanks again, man.